How is telematics data changing the world of mobility? In this week's episode, we speak with Matrix IQ, who are utilising driving data to make the world safer and more sustainable. Let's see how.
Welcome back to Flock Friday. My name is Kelsey McGrath, Operations Manager at Flock, and today we are talking to Matrix IQ, and we have Phil and Alison here. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Hi, good, thank you.
So, what does Matrix IQ do?
So Matrix IQ, we are a software company that specialises in the application of data across a number of sectors from a number of different sources.
Once that data is captured and that data is analysed, we then have the human factor, speak to drivers using that data to explain to them how the behaviours could be improved.
So Flock and Matrix have been working together for a little while. You provide telematics devices for us as well as be a data aggregator. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think we've seen for a while now that both OEMs and fleets are already connected. So the OEMs are on the journey of producing connected vehicles from the production line. So we realised that it's important for us to be able to aggregate data from a number of different sources, to present data in one platform that's scored in the same way and give you an impression as to what sort of risk you're writing.
I think you're absolutely right, Phil. We at Flock are trying to be as device agnostic as possible with telematics. I think that approach is probably the future of telematics, really. You're talking a lot about data points. What type of data is Matrix collecting?
Primarily, we look at journey information, so GPS start and end points, time and date stamps, but more importantly for yourselves, we start to look at harsh braking events, harsh acceleration events, and speeding events.
Absolutely. And how do you interpret that data when it comes in?
Obviously, we are really focusing on driver behaviour and trying to reduce collisions and make companies a much lower risk proposition. We tend to focus really on speed because it is the biggest contributory factor for death and serious injury collisions. And our data analysts then will contact the driver and speak to them about the behaviours and explain the consequences of it.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are really making a huge impact on the safety of your drivers. So outside the realm of cost saving or safety recognitions, is there any way that your telematics devices are helping towards sustainability?
The beauty of what we do is, to the fleet operator, you don't have to make a choice between sustainability, safety and cost saving. They all work for each other. We know there's a safe fleet is an efficient fleet because typically it will burn less fuel if there's less speeding in there.
Phil's right, drivers who are heavy on the accelerator, they also tend to brake later, can use between 20 and 25% more fuel than a cautious driver. In the kind of wider environmental piece, one of the things that we do using aggregated data is to look at where we can swap out traditional ICE vehicles for electric vehicles. We can actually work with fleets and help them pick the low-hanging fruit and say, of these vehicles, we found 18% that you could convert straight away to EV.
Anxiety over range anxiety is actually worse than range anxiety itself, if that makes sense. More vehicles than you anticipate are ready for that EV transition.
So as you're on the front lines with telematics, it really looks like they're going towards, the future where potentially all vehicles are connected. What more can telematics do in that new brave world?
It's more about how we apply the data and use that data from devices to really make a giant leap forward. Things like being able to predict collision hotspots on roads where we see a high collision frequency.
So Flock uses these data points and all of this information that you're providing from telematics. What happens to insurance when all cars are connected and autonomous?
Probably the hardest period in terms of insurance, and certainly in terms of us stopping collisions on the roads, is that in-between stage where we have some autonomy and then we have some vehicles that are manually led. And I think that, for me, is a really interesting area. I think if everything could be autonomous overnight, fantastic. But that move to it, that's going to be the really high risk area. And I think that's where, as Phil says, passing the buck, you as insurers.
Well, Flock is up to the challenge when it comes to the future of that autonomous connected insurance. Thank you so much for your time, Phil and Alison. Where can the lovely viewers go to find out more about Matrix and Drive?
So if people would like to visit matrixiq.com, you'll find all our details, what we do and how we do it on that website.
Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions about Matrix IQ, telematics, and the future that they'll play in mobility, leave a comment down below, and we'll see you next time on Flock Fridays. Thank you again, Alison and Phil.
Pleasure.
Thank you.